This is
Chat the Great. What was the show like with Oasis at Knebworth? Because that is just such an iconic show. And obviously it was at a time when obviously we didn't have phones and there wasn't any internet. The buzz around that show must have been just insane. Like, how was it promoting that show?
Don't know. It's strange. It sort of didn't. I think we didn't take it for granted.
Yeah.
But it just felt like it was just something that happened. You know, I started promoting, Oasis, and then I got a job at a big company, and the big company and they promoted. They're called MCP. They promoted U2 and Bon Jovi and REM, and all these big rock bands in stadiums, and they were looking for someone new to find new talent. And I, as I said, I was just a guy putting on gigs in Bristol, and luckily I got in at the beginning of the whole Britpop scene and whatever. So I went from just being the promoter that booked a few bands in Newport and Bristol and Hereford and whatever, to doing it for a bigger company, and obviously had really experienced people around me that could advise me how to develop an artist and whatever. And so I started getting on Oasis, and there's a guy called Chris York at SJM. He was doing it as well, and then it got to a point where just before Oasis did Earl's Court, which was their first sort of big arena show in London. And the agent and the manager said, actually, we want your two companies to work together now on this. So we wanted to co-promote Oasis from here on in, which we did, for the rest of their career. And so it just just felt like every few months, and every album, we were just doing somewhere bigger. So we did Earl's Court, and then that was 95, November 95, and then we did some other shows. They were touring, and then in the end of April of 96, we did Main Road in Manchester, which was Manchester City's ground at the time. We did 2 nights there, 40,000 people a night. And then, that was April. And then in August, we did Knebworth. So
that's insane.
There's a guy writing a book about it at the minute. And he's been interviewing people involved in the shows, and I talked to him a couple of weeks ago, and he's done his research really well. He was telling me things that
he was like, what?
he was putting me right on things that I'd said, that I'd told him. He said, no, that isn't right, because that person wasn't there at the time because their mother was ill, and because he's doing his research, and I'm sort of a bit cloudy because it's 25 years ago, but
of course,
it was great. It was we were all pretty young. I was 29 when that happened. I think Chris was 28.
Wow.
Chris York. So we were, we hung on to the tails of Oasis really at the beginning, and we did a good job for them. We both worked for really good companies that had great, Simon Moran, who runs SJM, and Tim Parsons, Stuart Galbraith at MCP. We were learning a lot from these people, and we did a good job, so they stayed with us. And a few years later, actually, I saw there was a thing about the Stone Roses, and Noel was interviewed, and he was talking about the first big Stone Roses gig, which was at Spike Island near Liverpool. Which was a bit, was a shambles, really. It was badly put together. It sounded terrible. The bars were shocking. The toilet, it was just done really badly. And he said, we knew that, the Roses were a great band, but that gig was a bit of a shocker. He said, we got the professionals in. And I thought, yeah, that was me. I was one of those. I was one of the, but I thought that was a really good compliment, because we did do a really good job, and I remember we looked at a few other places before we chose Knebworth. We looked at all, we wanted to make sure we got the right choice,
of course,
the venue, and we took Noel down that day to see the sights. And Alan McGee had bought him a chocolate brown Rolls Royce, so he turned up with his, but Noel couldn't drive, so he had a chauffeur drove him, and his wife Meg at the time drove him down to look at the site, and they drove the car down to the bottom of the hill where the stage would be.
And
he got out, and we'd had some this company had sent, were trying to pitch us this idea of selling fold-up binoculars, right, for big gigs. And he put an Oasis logo on them. So, so we said, look, the gigs are this big now, Noel, we're going to have to sell binoculars for people at the back. Yeah, organisationally, the way that Knebworth worked out was that Chris York, he did the ticketing and the marketing, and we did the production. We always used to carve up the responsibility so that each company did something. So I got the glamour job of, traffic management and overseeing the sort of site planning and whatever else. But I'd only been a national promoter for just over 2 years by this point. I was still very inexperienced. This was my first greenfields, and I thought you might mention it tonight. I don't know if you can see it. Hang on, I'm going to take it down.
Yeah, do it. Let's have a look.
Thank you.
I bought this a few years ago.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
Whoa, it's beautiful.
This was Zeppelin at Knebworth.
Nice.
Whoa.
Oh, nice.
Look at that. Look at the bottom of the bill. Chaz and Dave.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
That's crazy.
Anyway, so even though they played 2 nights, they did it on consecutive weekends. They did it on consecutive Saturdays. So they just left the stage up, and people came back. They had a different audience. Whereas Oasis did it back to back. So we had 125,000 on the Saturday, and then they all left, and then another 125,000 came in on the Sunday. So it was really full on.